Hi, Michael. Good to see you. So, kind of nice this year. With the holidays being kind of in the middle of the week, I think I'll be able to have live sessions right through because won't have all the holiday stuff kind of getting in there. Today is the solstice, I think, or thereabouts. It's like 20th, 21st, 22nd. I didn't check to be sure, but I always like this time of year. Um, like in particular, I like being out. You can catch the sunrise late. You don't have to get up super early to catch the sunrise. So I'll be out there in the woods with the dog, and there's the sun just peeking over. You know. So happy solstice. Howdy, Jude. It's quiet in here today. There's four of us, which is just cool. Because even though I'm able to do these, because the holidays are kind of in the middle of the week, people are tend to be pretty busy this time of year, I think. So I guess I wouldn't be surprised if it was a little slower than usual. But appreciate those of you who are here, and I promise to to do my best. Hi, Juliana. All right. Well, we're almost 3 minutes in, and that's when I like to start the opening meditation, just to get ourselves into the groove, into the mood, or however you want to think about it. Hi, Ian. Aloha. Awesome. All right. So I often like to point out at the beginning, especially of this first meditation, that there is a momentum of the mind, and I thought it especially appropriate today to think about it. If it's true that some people might not be here because of the hustle and bustle of the season, a lot of stuff going on. And if you're here, you may have in mind some other things you need to do. So, kind of recognizing that, I kind of sometimes see it as an encounter. It's like I sit down and close my eyes, and then there it is. I encounter this momentum, this freight train of things to do, etc. And with that acknowledged, we want to let that go by. We can even go so far as making a little promise to ourselves that we'll pick it back up. We know we have responsibilities, but we've made a decision to put aside thoughts of distress, thoughts of wanting, needing, greed. And in one tradition, focus on one of four frames of reference or foundations of mindfulness. And we often begin with the body, which includes the breath. And we don't necessarily need to drop all of our sense of responsibility that we dropped when we encountered the freight train of to-do lists outside in the world. We can bring that sense of responsibility to this body, this breath, this mind, because we do have responsibility there. For some, a sense of responsibility is inspiring. For some, a sense of reverence, duty, and to inspire the heart to take up this practice now in this short time we've set aside. Sense the breath taking shape in the body. A constellation of sensations through each rising and falling breath. Sense how the breath refreshes the body. And as we become more settled, allow the mind to become broad, the perception of the body, the awareness, let it grow. Kind of like allowing the peripheral vision to come into more focus. Let the eyes relax so you can see the periphery. In a similar way, relax the mind to take in a full sense of the body as a whole. Still aware of the rising and falling breath, but also this fullness. Oh, nice. Awesome, Jude. Let's see. Some good quotes for today's theme. Great. I cannot be awake, for nothing looks to me as it did before, or else I am awake for the first time, and all before has been a mean sleep. Oh, that is good. Nice. All right, and that one was Walt Whitman, and this one is Khalil Gibran. Your hearts know in silence the secrets of the days and the nights, but your ears thirst for the sound of your heart's knowledge. Yeah, very nice. So, yeah, it's a funny way that I, came to the idea. I was thinking about engines. Actually, I'll maybe I'll read the description aloud one time because some people just happen in. So I call it sensors, filters, pumps, explosions. And I say, we're not trying to memorize a system, but apply techniques to achieve various outcomes and purportedly one ultimate outcome. Spiritual philosophy has many great teachers and texts to study with very useful parables, similes, and analogies to choose from. But ultimately, you need to be able to analogize in a way that works for you. If it's useful to think of an engine with sensors, filters, pumps, and explosions, get your imagination involved and go for it. So, it's kind of like you can hear the same teaching 1,000 times, and then, the 1,001st time, something happens, something has transformed in you. The analogy or the simile, or the parable, like makes sense. Um, so that's in a way like what encouraging is to dig into your own life and say like, what works for me, and obviously it depends on what your goal is, but you know, kind of talking about spiritual philosophy, talk about Buddhism a lot, the idea of becoming more awake, less under siege by the woes of the world. Uh, so I thought the idea of an engine would be a good one for some people, like who understand engines to some degree, and you actually don't even have to. It's like the simplest parts because I don't really. Um, like the sensors, like those are our senses. The six senses in Buddhism: sight, sound, touch, taste, smell, uh, thoughts. Um, and it's good. Like it has filters. Keep the bad stuff out while letting the good stuff through. That which does not lead to long-term well-being, we leave out, and that which leads to long-term well-being, we leave in. Pumps keep things moving internally. Think about what's added. What are we putting in? So, like from the standpoint of the gas pump, we only put in what we think is going to be good for it. But out in life, where sometimes stuff gets put into our consciousness that we don't have as much control over, which is why we need a filter. You know, then there's stuff that's put in consciously, stuff that's put in unconsciously. And then the idea of explosions, uh, like the engine actually doing its work, thoughts and actions is how I thought of that. But yeah, um, and I just wanted to like just as an example, um, something that you can kind of relate to, because sometimes the Buddhist lists can be a little bit dry. Um, like, what are your interests? I thought of knitting. I thought of like in particular, like what happens if like you get a little ways and you realize there's a mistake back here, if you're crocheting or knitting, there's like different options. Like, do I patiently unwind? Do I say, well, this was just a practice blanket, start a new one? I don't know. Yeah, I have been having vehicular troubles. In fact, that's that's true, Jude. Um, but that's okay. It is why it came to mind. Um, so maybe make something good from it. So I want to look at your quotes again. I cannot be awake, for nothing looks to me as it did before, or else I am awake for the first time, and all before has been a mean sleep. That's that's a good analogy, and one that we can use for we can use our imagination with as well. The degree to which we're awake and asleep, the degree to which we're dreaming, the degree to which there are dreams within dreams. There's a lot of different directions we can go with that. Um, but I think, yeah, taking, like I said, there's so much good wisdom. We have just endless amounts of wisdom to start with. Well, just inspiring us to get started is a good place. Is a good use of all that old wisdom. And I like the idea that Gibran is saying there, that uh, your heart knows, um, and that kind of goes with it as well, because it's like, it's kind of it's archaeology. It's an uncovering. That's one way where people put it, that your heart knows in silence the secrets of the days and the nights, but your ears thirst for the sound of your heart's knowledge. Yeah, so it's recognition. Yeah. Walt Whitman speaking of a moment of clarity, or even more so, a moment of fundamental realization. Yeah. Like, yeah, I've been sleeping all this time. Does it turn out to be that I have been? Yeah, so this topic's a little less clear cut. Um, but yeah, if there's anything in your hearts, stuff that has worked for you, um, whether canonical or something that you've come up with, or kind of an interesting thing is like, how do you take, how does something go from something that's written down, if it's in the Pali Canon or if it's in the Bible, you know, and then how does it get into your heart? You know, that's kind of what I meant, like that it, even with the parables and the analogies and similes, like it has to be, like you can read it and even understand what it means, but it almost has to be re-analogized. It has to be, uh, there's another level to which you say, oh, I really see how this applies. Like this is now, it went from being a nice story to being, kind of like Whitman, like, oh, you realize it has that people had that experience. Um, I guess the idea is, it could be anything. It could be like this very kind of simple, funny example of thinking of how an engine works. And that's sometimes how it works, I think, too. That's why a lot of religions point to nature, that like you can be out in nature and have these moments of clarity, and like you see how things are knit together. I was talking at the beginning how I love the solstice just for the physical aspect of it, that the sun is up late. I will get up early enough to see the sun in the summer, but it's a lot easier in the winter. And there's a quality to it, and being out in the cold, quiet woods, especially if there's snow on the ground, which there isn't right now here. But yeah, nature has a lot of. Let's see, Jude saying, "This is the first year I really haven't bothered with the whole Christmas palaver, and to be honest, it's been very liberating for energy and attention." Yeah, yeah. So that's definitely a way to let some of the uncovering happen. Like, what are we burdening ourselves with? You know, I think of it. I guess in terms of Christmas, we do similar things with similar family, but actually, I didn't put up. You know, I don't usually put up a lot of lights, but I, I guess you could say I did fewer this year. We've been trying this is the third year. We did it when the years and years ago, but this is the third year we've been trying to do this, a live tree. So we have a live tree that we leave outside like basically until today, because you can't bring it in for very long. Um, I have lights on it, and I'm going to bring it in. We're going to decorate it and have dinner. Leave it there until Christmas, and then bring it back outside so we don't kill it, and and then plant it, and hopefully we'll have a nice pine tree. Um, 2 years ago, that one is still alive. The one from last year, dead, um, because we kind of had a drought this summer, and I didn't. I should have kept up on watering it more. But yeah, so those are, you know, rituals that make me feel connected. Uh, and sometimes I see one that I've been doing, and I was like, I don't need to do that anymore. Like, you must have decided. Uh, is this serving the spirit? That's what the filter is for, right? The filter out what does not serve. Teresa is saying, "There's one in my yard that's become very tall from when we planted it as a child." That's beautiful. That's really cool. Nice, Michael. I like that. Decorated a fallen branch found after a storm. That's cool. Yeah, the ones that I tried planting I think I must have done 2 or 3 blue spruce that when my older son was young, and I killed them all. I tried, but I worked at a place that sold them, so I got them for like deep discount. That would be pretty rough. I mean, it was hard losing the last one. That I don't obviously never want to lose one, but especially when you're paying the full price. Um, hmm. This is a. I'm glad I've been able to keep talking. It's been a quiet group, which is fine, and it does feel solsticey to have it be a pretty relatively quiet group. You know, some just some nice sharing, but I of course welcome as much chat as you'd like to give me. But if it remains relatively quiet, then we'll just have an extra long meditation today, probably with longer periods of silence than usual. See Jude saying, I'm not a Christmas hater and try not to rain on anyone else's parade, but I just don't dig it, and felt this year I'd shirk the feelings of obligation and guilt. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get it, man. Definitely. There's aspects to the materialistic uh, stuff that, yeah, at various times I found different ways to sort of work with and short circuit. But you know, yeah, it can be a tricky thing to navigate. But yeah, kudos to you for like, you know, you go for clarity. Right, exactly. Obligation and guilt, neither of which are wholesome motivators, pumps, if you will. If we're going to return to the original analogy, we'll filter those out. You can filter out, so there's generosity, which should be the origin, and then maybe sometimes it gets soiled with obligation and guilt. So we need to filter that out, um, and find the original spirit. Nice. I like that, Michael. Light, giving, and self care. Certainly seasonally appropriate, you know, slowing down. That's one of the things. I think the hubbub is a little counter to the sensation we're feeling as winter comes on, you know. So, yeah, I think the idea of self care is very important, and certainly not, finding a way to not cultivate that sense of, obligation, guilt. Yeah, that's, yeah, giving time to charity instead of material things, certainly. very good. Well, thank you, folks, for definitely appreciate your thoughts. And we're past the 30-minute mark, so we're right in there at a appropriate time to do a meditation. So make yourself comfortable, standing, sitting, walking, lying down, however you find yourself. Just a lot of times I'll direct the meditation in terms of sitting, but you can extrapolate from there. Anything I say that's specific about sitting, you can think of what the intention is, and a lot of it really has to do with bringing bringing intention. The way your hands are, the way you're stepping, even the way you're lying down, how the pillows are arranged. Are they conducive to high awareness? So, perhaps putting the finishing touches on how the body is composed. A lot of times, the last thing I'll do is lift up through the center top of the head and then let the shoulders relax, knowing that it's a work in progress. There's a fair chance that some minutes into the meditation, I'll notice that some slouch or tilt has entered the body. And upon noticing, a lot of times, if it's in the middle, I'll try to do it really slowly, as if I'm trying to make it so no one can tell that I'm lifting my posture back up, even though usually there's no one else in the room. Just a fun thing. So, with the body composed, letting the awareness be broad, letting ourselves notice the rising and falling breath and the sensations that it brings. Sometimes, like the question, how many moments are in a rising breath? How many moments in a falling breath? Is the space in between the in and out breath just one moment or many? My short answer is that it definitely changes. The moment is not always the same. And the idea is being there for this one. As the mind rides the breath up and in through moment by moment, and riding the breath down and riding it out. Letting the sensation of the breath take shape in the body. Keeping in mind there's the option of influencing the breath, with more purpose, like taking a deeper breath, or trying to let the breath be very quiet. So usually I'll begin with deeper, kind of nourishing, oxygen spreading breaths. But later I might experiment with kind of in a similar way with when I say I'll adjust my posture as if I'm trying to make it so they can't tell, even though there's nobody there. Or maybe there is. But doing it very gradually, but letting the breath come and go in a similar way. And those are just the kind of the far ends of the spectrum. Big, deep, nourishing breaths, very quiet, subtle breaths. What does the body want from the breath right now? What would nourish the mind? Is there any place in the body that feels it could use more nourishment, use the breath? Think of the breath as a salve, an ointment, or a healing light or healing mist. Direct our attention and imagine directing the breath, looking to fill the whole body, just like the analogy of the bathman working water into the soap powder to make it a ball of soap that's moistened but not dripping. We work the breath into the body. Or you could think of it as just working our awareness into the body, all the way out to the edges, maybe even just a little beyond the edges of the body. Like we're within the awareness. Using the breath as a tool to sustain us, keep our attention, move energy. Feel the refreshment of the breath. You don't have to do all the work all at once. There is space for abiding, resting in refreshment, resting in goodwill. If the practice is feeling too technical, overworked, just sense into your desire for well-being, well-being for yourself, well-being for your loved ones, and for the world at large. Another analogy, I've thought of before as I was just noticing my microphone stand slipping, is a microphone. We've talked about a telescope, but the same with a microphone, the fidelity of the signal. So if we say we want well-being to be the signal, how are we composing the body, composing the breath, our feelings, the mind, thought patterns to be, to create fidelity of that signal. Say the mic stand is kind of like concentration. If the mic is just flopping around, it's going to get bumped. It's not going to be pointed at the right place. It needs stability. You could think of that as just the body's posture as well. So inside and outside stability. And there's a certain amount of background noise that can be filtered out, blocked out, and some that can't. And how do we work with that? It might be like the actual background noise in our environment, or thoughts that keep emerging. You could actually make the breath into a white noise machine if you wanted. Do like yogic breathing, ujjayi breathing, or it could be just more of a internal white noise machine, something gets so absorbed in the sensations of refreshment and well-being, rapture that come from concentrating with the breath and body, that those thoughts and those noises just have less influence. They become the background noise. So where does the mind like to rest? Where does it like to be agitated? We find it going toward the agitation at times. But even if there's just a small space in this time that we've been sitting, that we notice the mind took some rest, took some refuge, had a pleasant abiding. And trying there again, bringing it back there. Maybe in the last few moments of the sitting, can turn our attention ever so slightly forward, because it's the direction we're going. We're going into a future, and it may be that there's some busyness coming up. Maybe setting some intention for some self-care, as we talked about. Stealing some moments of refuge. Remembering that it really can happen in a moment. We don't know how long one of those is exactly, but bringing our heart there, bringing our focus, some concentration, we can give ourselves some peace. It's something very valuable. That's something that we can be generous with as well when we found even a small amount, something to can be shared without diminishing. Thanks, Jude. You're welcome. Many thanks to you as well for your input, for being here so steadily. Uh, Thank you, everybody, for giving your time here, spending your time here, giving, spending. Careful out there. Don't spend too much. It's Thank you, Kay. Nice to see you. Thanks for being here. Uh, yeah, so yeah, I can't think of any reason why at the moment why I wouldn't have one next Sunday as well. Like I said, it's kind of nice having the holidays in the middle of the week. I get to just do these normally. Um, and I hope everyone enjoys them. Happy solstice today. Um, happy Yuletide. Happy Hanukkah. If you, I think that is still. I texted my friend who was celebrating on the first day, but I have no idea what day that was because I lose track of days. And Merry Christmas to anybody who celebrates any of those things. And if you are here next week, I will see you before the new year. So I will not say Happy New Year yet. Um, so is that right? Yeah, that's right. Okay, folks. Many thanks and have a lovely week. Bye bye.